Hey everybody, welcome back. We were going to spend the week looking at how we practice gratitude and if we're actually doing it in a deep way or in a more superficial way. And I thought that as this is the month of November and in North America, well, in the United States, Thanksgiving is in November. In Canada, it's in October, but it is the season of gratitude. I thought that for the month of November, I'd give some tips on how to deepen one's practice. Now, I also received a comment on my last video that was aligned with what I was going to speak about today, so that's perfect. And that is that one of the best ways we can deepen our practice is to spend some time really deeply analyzing why it is that we're grateful for the things that we are. So for me, I like to think about kind of the stories behind the associations that I have with the things for which I'm grateful. So today I'm grateful that I got to go on a little bit of an adventure. I went to an abbey nearby that has beautiful stained glass. I'm grateful because it's near my mother's birthday and also near to the Day of the Dead. And so I got to go there, and in my intention, I took her with me on that adventure. And thirdly, I'm grateful that it is a beautiful day. It's getting a little bit cloudy now, but it has been very sunny all day, and so that worked magic with the stained glass, but it also meant that I could go for a lovely walk and have some contemplative time. So to deepen that list of gratitude, I would tell you the stories behind each of those things and the reasons why those things mean something to me. So being near the Day of the Dead and near to my mother's birthday, I'm able to have the intention to connect with her in a way that I don't intentionally do in my day-to-day life. I enjoy being intentional about spending time contemplating my mother and my relationship with my mother at least once a year. Now, an adventure is something that my mother and I used to do together, and my mother was a great adventurer. She's more adventurous than I am, and I've been all over the world. When she was a teenager, she left home and went to work picking fruit in the orchards. And then when she was a young woman, she moved to the Yukon and just decided to go and find a job there and see what the future held. So if I am an adventurer in my own life, I owe that to my mother. And we did a lot of adventuring in the time that I had her on this planet. In a pandemic, it's pretty hard to adventure. But there is an abbey nearby that has beautiful stained glass. And I decided to go and have a walk on the grounds and to see the stained glass. I'm going to put up, I hope I got some photographs that are worthy of putting up. But my interest in stained glass began when I was a child. As a child, I remember saying to my father that I came from beyond the stained glass. And I was probably 5 years old when I said that. And to me, stained glass was associated with the church. And so I'm assuming that what I meant was that I came from heaven. And I think that children remember a time before being born, if anyone can remember it, much more than adults do. And so I remember saying that I came from the place beyond the stained glass. So I loved it even as a child, the way the light would go through the stained glass. And when I became an adult, I started to enjoy and to travel around to see medieval stained glass. Now, living in North America, there isn't any medieval stained glass, so that required being in Europe. I think the thing that I like most about stained glass is the way in which the light not only passes through, but creates reflections all over the room. And really, it draws the attention to the quality of light. And as a photographer, amateur photographer, that's one of the things that I'm always looking for is the light. So right now I'm sitting with the setting sun, and it's almost golden hour. And golden hour is a beautiful time of day. It's really great on the skin tone. But it also has this lovely quality of light that softens everything that you look at. So as a photographer, light is, well, it's how photographs get made. And as a painter, I also have been chasing light. I am an untrained painter for the most part, but what I always seek to incorporate into my artwork, consciously or unconsciously, is light. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but at dawn and dusk, that's when the birds sing the most. And I can hear them sing here now. I don't know if it will come through over the traffic noise and the aircraft and everything else, but as a spiritual seeker, light is also something that's important. It has metaphorical connotations for the spiritual journey. And so being able to go and see some stained glass today has been a most glorious adventure. It was a sunny day, and so I was really grateful for that, because without even consciously being aware, I went from an inner world and an inner contemplative world looking at this beautiful stained glass, the light playing on the glass and the reflections on the walls. And then I went outside and I was looking at the way the light would hit a leaf and make it almost appear to glow. The way the light would go through the trees and create a sense of something bigger than oneself. And the way the light creates shadows that can be quite funny. And the way that it makes someone appear more beautiful. And so for all of that, I'm grateful. My joy is that it has been such a glorious day. And I've been laughing throughout recording this because it's been a little bit more difficult than it was up at the monastery to find quiet. My sense of oneness, well, I had a sense of oneness with something greater than myself, what I would call God. I had a sense of oneness with my mother. And I had a sense of oneness with nature. And right now I'm having a sense of oneness with the birds that are singing and cawing all around me. So this week I encourage you to look for the why of all the things for which you're grateful. And when you can find that why, write it down. If there's a story in it, all the better. It'll take a little extra time when you're sitting down to do your practice. But I think you'll find it's worth it. For what are you most grateful today?